thank you for listening to Anna Taylor Radio. I'm Anna Taylor of Anna Taylor Radio. I appreciate all your support out there, whoever's listening out in podcast land. Today we're going to talk about what's in the best interest of the child. If anybody who has been through a custody battle knows and has heard these words, I'm sure, in the best interest of the child, which usually with the failure court system typically does not do what's in the best interest of the child. So we're going to get into what are the factors within the best interest of the child procedures. What does that entail? People are like, well, I have a home, I have it. Well, there's pretty much 12 different factors that the judge goes over as far as placing the child with the right party. But here we go, let's get into this. Okay, so the information that I have today is coming from avvo.com. That's avvo.com, as far as 12 best interest factors. By the way, I am recording this on my YouTube channel, so if you would like to go over and watch this podcast on my YouTube channel, go to Anna Taylor Radio channel and you can watch it there. It's not professionally made as far as video terms go, but it's a visual, so some people like visual, some people like audio. It's whatever. I have both. I forgot to plug in my microphone. Well, silly me. Hopefully people can hear me better now. Testing 1, 2. So let's get into these 12 best interest factors. The first one is love and affection. And of course, this is kind of like a duh, love and affection. But I mean, this is one of the factors. And unfortunately, not all parents have love and affection for their child. Sometimes they're emotionally abusive to their children. And sometimes parents don't even realize they're being abusive to their children. Physical abuse is not the only type of abuse. Sexual abuse is not the only type of abuse. There's emotional and mental damages, screaming at the child and saying certain things to the child, certain ways how you discipline the child. So you got to have love and affection. But the definition for that is the love, affection, and other emotional ties existing between the parties involved and the child. This factor focuses on the emotional bonds presented to the court about where the child is at in terms of emotional ties with the parents. Who does the child look to for love and comfort? Does the child primarily want to be with you? The next one is religious upbringing. And as far as the information for that, the capacity and disposition of the parties involved to give the child love, affection, and guidance, and to continue the education and raising of the child in his or her religion or creed, if any. Another good one, ability to provide. The capacity and disposition of the parties involved to provide the child with food, clothing, medical care, or other remedial care recognized and permitted under the laws of this state in place of medical care and other material needs. So this is kind of like a big duh too. I mean, the child needs to be provided for, right? They gotta have clothes, they gotta have food, they gotta have water, they gotta have a place to sleep. The next one is stability of the child's environment. The length of time the child has lived in a stable, satisfactory environment and the desirability of maintaining continuity. So basically, you don't want to just pluck the kid out of the environment they've been in for years, Like if they've been with dad most of the time, you can't just pluck them out of that environment and full force full-time put them into the mother's environment, and as nice as that sounds, it should be 50-50 in a perfect world, with decent, good, loving parents that actually give a damn and do a good job parenting. I mean, no, there's no book on parenting, but still, normal parents, per se, in a perfect world, it would be 50-50, but sometimes it's just not always like that. So, permanence of the family home. The permanence as a family unit of the existing or proposed custodial home or homes. This factor focuses solely on the permanence of the family environment, not the acceptability of the home or child care arrangements. Here the court is likely to penalize those who support structure, or those without support structure. Excuse me, that was a mess up. The court is likely to penalize those without support structure. You have to have support. Family, babysitters to watch your kids. You just have to have support. Maybe you go to church and you have a church family, that is there to support the children. School counselors, things like that. Moral fitness of the parties. The moral fitness of the parties involved. The court does not focus on immoral actions per se, only how these actions relate to their parenting. So does one of the parents suffer from drunkenness, vulgarity, or commit criminal acts? Meaning, okay, so dad drinks beer once in a while. That's not really a big deal. But does he drink all the time? Is he extremely vulgar around the kids and abusive? Same thing with mom. Does she do drugs, whether the kids are there or not? And is she obscene around, speaking vulgarity around the children? Okay, a few F-bombs here and there, whatever. Like, no kid has never heard a parent drop an F-bomb, but still, it's like, you gotta maintain a certain type of demeanor around children. Keep it PG and G rated, pretty much. The parent's health is next. The mental and physical health of the parties involved. So that's kind of a big duh. You gotta make sure that, if a parent is dying, you don't want to put a child in their custody because they're dying. That's worst case scenario. But mental state, if they're not, that's why they do psych evaluations, to evaluate the psychological factors of the mom and dad, which I have to say, I speak against it. The psych evaluations are total bullshit sometimes, and they really diagnose you with things that you really don't have because they're basing it off of a couple of tests, and these are, I think, outdated. Some of them are outdated, some of them are okay, but like, for example, the doctor that did art evaluation or psych evaluation, me and my kid's father, Dr. Anderson, he's full of shit. Next is successful schooling. The home, school, and community record of the child. So basically, where are they doing the best at in school? Are they doing good with homeschool with mom? Are they doing okay in the school district that they're in already? They got friends in school. You don't want to pluck them out of the school that they have friends in and they're doing good, because that really messes up the child. I know firsthand, moving to a new school is very hard. Making new friends is very hard, and trying to learn and catch up to speed because every school district is different. And, like, this school district might be in this place in English class, but you move to a new school district and they might be, 5 weeks ahead. So, then you got to catch up and adjust to a move and adjust to a new environment. It's crazy. Next is the preference of the child. The reasonable preference of the child, if the court considers the child to be of sufficient age to express preference. Basically, this is another big duh. Where does the child feel the most safest and comfortable? Who do they want to be with? And here's where alienation can take in effect, because a parent could manipulate the child into wanting the child, or, making the child say, well, I want to be with dad, or mom, whichever the case may be. And, take alienation out of that. That's where the true state of the child should be. The next one is, parent facilitates and encourages a close and continuing parent-child relationship with the other parent. This is hard. This is co-parenting, people. Okay, this is when you actually get along with your ex for the sake of parenting your child in a loving, healthy environment. The willingness and ability of each of the parties to facilitate and encourage a close and continuing parent-child relationship between the child and the other parent, or the child and the parents. So my ex, my abusive ex, as I've mentioned before, I'm an 11-year domestic violence survivor, and also my children are child abuse survivors from him. Not only have they witnessed abuse, but they were abused themselves by him, especially in one incident that was horrifying. So with that being said, fuck my ex. Fuck their shit sperm donor father. He has nothing to do with them. So I have that one. I know I would be counted out of, because I will not, and I refuse to have any type of relations with my abusive ex anymore. I've tried to co-parent. He will not co-parent with me. The next factor is domestic violence. This is very important. Domestic violence, regardless of whether the violence was directed against or witnessed by the child. Now, here's the problem in court. The judge will pretty much say, well, the abuse was done to you, not the child. How is he or she towards the child? It doesn't fucking matter, you dumbass judge. It doesn't matter how or what they were towards. I don't care if he is loving towards his children, but then he beats me and treats me like shit in front of them. Did you know that a child who witnesses abuse, especially on a parent, both parents who they love both of them, they watch one parent beating the shit out of the other parent that they love, that fucks the kid up. There's so many factors in that. They can grow up to be abusers themselves, or it's trauma. But watching and witnessing domestic violence is child abuse. It's just as bad as child abuse, and it is child abuse, because the victim is actually allowing the abuser to do this, and for the children to witness this. Why? Because they will not get. You have to get the children away. You have to get away. When you have children, you have to get out of that situation, especially for the sake of the children, so they don't witness it. When they witness it and you do not get your children to a safe location, you don't leave that situation, you are solely responsible for child neglect and abuse. You're neglecting to keep your kids in a safe environment. Hello, wake up, people. The last one is court-determined relevant factor. This is basically any other factors considered by the court to be relevant to a particular child custody dispute. What are any other factors? Is there anything else that would help, move things along smoother, have a decent transition, whatever other factors that there may be within these factors. So basically, that's it. Those are the factors for in the best interest of the child. So if you're building your custody case right now, if you're out there or you're about to build a custody case or plan on building a custody case, I highly, highly advise you to write notes down on this podcast or on this video cast on my YouTube channel, on Anna Taylor Radio channel. Okay, and consider these factors. Write down each factor and what you have to offer or bring to the table for your child, to say, hey, judge, with this factor, this is what I can do. With the next factor, this is what I have. This is what I don't have. Whatever. You have to have these with the judge, because this is what the judge is looking for. And sometimes it's not fair, and sometimes it is. I mean, usually the court system is a complete failure, but you know what? Sometimes it's a failure because people don't know any better. They don't research. They don't do their research when they're doing custody cases, especially if you're self-representing, okay? Now, these factors, as far as for in the best interests of the child, is whether or not you have a lawyer or not, whether you're self-representing or not, okay? But especially if you're self-representing, you better know your shit. Anyway, that is the end of this podcast, podcast episode. It is snowing here in Lynchburg, Virginia. It's January 16th, 2022. We are in the middle of Snowmageddon. It's a blizzard, and my cat is actually watching the snow, trying to catch it through the window. So, Galileo is my crazy kitty cat. But anyway, I'm gonna go play in the snow. I don't know about you. I love shoveling it, but I'm gonna go play in the snow. I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe, happy day. And if you need help, reach out. Listen to any of my other podcasts. I list resources for the suicide hotline, domestic violence hotline, child abuse hotline, addiction hotline, or if you want to reach Project Storm. This is an episode in the Project Storm series on my podcast, Anna Taylor Radio, here on anchor.fm/Anna Taylor Radio Now. You can also find me on TikTok, Anna Taylor Radio Now, and on Facebook, Anna Taylor Radio, Instagram, Anna Taylor Radio. So look for either Anna Taylor Radio or Anna Taylor Radio Now. My email is annataylorradionow@gmail.com. If you want to email Project Storm, that is projectstormemail@gmail.com. I appreciate all your support. Please considering supporting me each month through the support page on Anchor. Check it out. And share this podcast. Share these videos. Let's get the word out there. Let's help parents win custody battles here. Good parents. I want the good parents to win. I want the victims to prevail. I want justice for the children. So let's do this. Thank you for listening. I'm Anna Taylor. Bye.